Hi everyone. In my last video, which I made about the Dodo pad order I just received, I showed you the cards that I was making and I said that I would show you the finished article. So here it is. It looks a lot brighter on my phone screen than it does in person, although the colours are there, but I think that the oranges and yellows and greens are just glowing on the phone screen. The card is for my friend's daughter, and the idea was that she likes yoga, nature, adventure-y type sports like mountaineering. So I thought, oh, I could have a person at the top of a mountain doing tree pose. And initially I thought that she could be holding the moon in her upward arms, like sort of mountain pose arms, but I changed the design slightly. I went online to find some free images to use as stencils or templates or whatever you like to call them, so that I can do paper cutting, because it would have taken me too long to draw the images myself because I don't have much confidence in my own drawing skills. So I basically used the images that I cut off some paper that I'd printed and used them to be able to do paper cutting, which is basically where you use an image from printed off online or somewhere else to cut very intricate designs out of card or paper. I think it's a Mexican craft and it's amazing and also very difficult. I do recommend you watch a YouTube video on it. It's a lovely skill. So I did the mountain, the yoga figure and the tree in paper cutting, and it was very difficult but very rewarding. And I placed them on the card to know that I was happy with them, and then I used spray inks from Diane Reevely from Ranger to do the background, and I also used some distress ink pads. Now the good thing about spray inks, I don't know if you can see here on the yellow, is that you get a very fine mist of the different colours mixing, or not mixing as in the colours mixing, but the different coloured ink splashes, and it creates a lovely effect. And this is supposed to be a galaxy, and my inspiration came from my background on my mobile phone, because that is a galaxy. So I took some of the colours that they had on there, pinks, purples, yellows, oranges, and then the bottom right hand corner, because it's lower on the horizon, I wanted it to be more like the Northern Lights, but my mum says that this corner here looks more like the Northern Lights, and this was a part that I touched up with some distress inks. So if I'd have really thought about it, I would have done more distress ink rather than sprays on the bottom right hand corner. I tried to go over it with purple in those dark areas there and it didn't work, but then I think that looks like clouds, and I think if you think of it as sort of like a representation of a galaxy night sky, not a literal representation of a night sky, because I don't think you can actually see galaxies like that with a naked eye, then it doesn't necessarily look like the aurora borealis in the bottom right hand corner, but it maybe just looks like a very artistic nice green night sky, and then those darker areas you can see could be clouds. I tried to use my white picket fence spray to be stars, but it didn't mix properly. You have to shake it a lot to try to get the consistency right. So it created sort of clear blobs. So I went over it with a silver felt tip pen to create stars, and then I continued adding colours until I was happy with it. So the thing about spray inks is that it makes the card very wet, so you have to keep drying it in between, because if you don't dry it thoroughly, then the ink gets reactivated by the next layer of wet medium you add. So I kept having to dry it, and then I got some toilet roll because I didn't have any kitchen roll, and started to dab where it was mixing with the different colours too much, and it was creating sort of muddy colours. I dabbed it with the toilet roll, and it lifted some of the colour, which was great because it was starting to get a bit dark, so it was able to reveal some of the lighter colours underneath, so that was good. And then when I decided I was happy with it, I positioned the black elements and glued them down. I drew some lines, I think you can see them in the top corner here. I drew some lines on the mountainside with black crayon to sort of symbolise the rocky bits that somebody would climb up using mountaineering techniques. And on the tree, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but I did some sort of roundy, curly movements, like sort of swirly movements with the pencil to represent the bushiness of the tree, but you can't see it there. I'm not 100% happy with the way that I glued the yoga figure and the tree down, because I used PVA glue, and you might be able to see that there are some shiny elements around here on the yoga figure where the PVA glue has dried, but hopefully the recipient won't look that close. I was considering putting a moon in, as I said before, where I thought that she could be holding up the moon, but I decided not to, because I do tend to do more than I should do. I don't tend to stop where other people would think that it looks good to stop. I tend to keep adding things and then regretting it. But I did need to write a happy birthday sentiment. So I wrote it, well, I stamped it with a sentiment stamp onto this black card. I used black ink because if you're using a metallic embossing powder, black ink really helps to make the colour and the metallicness shine through. And then the way you emboss heat embossing is you use an ink pad that is nice and wet. You stamp it, and then you immediately cover it with the embossing powder, and then you use a heat gun to melt the embossing powder, because it's plastic, little plastic glitter granules that melt under the heat gun. So that's why it looks like well, I hope it looks like metal. I did that twice just to on two different pieces of card, just to get the most clear image, and this is the better of the two. And then I cut around it so that the design looks a bit better than just a rectangle of card, and then I stuck it on with some puffy sticky squares, I don't remember what they're called, to make it stick out a bit. I was going to put it at the top here, but then I decided not to obscure the night sky, and I put it down in the corner, which I think is a more modern location to put the sentiment, rather than right in the middle at the top. So yeah, that's it basically. I wrote on the back. I did my normal thing of getting the back a little bit messy with the ink that was on my desk. I wrote on the back, handmade by Kate B for Hun Dogs. Because that's the charity that I make cards for, Hun Dogs for Rehoming. They are a wonderful charity based, well, the lady who runs it is based in Milton Keynes in the UK, but she is Hungarian, so she has contacts with the Hungarian dog rescue centres and brings as many dogs over to loving homes as possible. That's where I got my Daisy and my Jasper from. So yeah, there we go, there's the card. I think it looks quite good. I like the colours. I like the galaxy effect. It isn't too bumpy. Well, kind of when you get wet card, it makes it not go flat. So I've had to iron it flat, and it still wasn't flat. So I managed to flatten it by just gluing it to the backing card. So I think that looks okay. And then I'm not 100% happy with these plants, because I'm not that good at drawing plants. I'm very happy with the tree. That is the most intricate paper cutting I've done on this card, and I think it looks great. Don't know if you can see how detailed the bottom right corner of the tree is. And it was difficult to do, but I'm very pleased with it. And I love the colours. And I hope the recipient will like it. So the inside is blank because I don't want to write my own message in there. It's for the family to write in there. And there's the card, and I'm going to obviously give them an envelope as well. So thanks for watching. Bye.